Hello guys, for today's video I wanted to just go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about a game that I have gotten back into that does seem to be the kind of trend for 2020, at least in my gaming sphere, is returning to some of the older games that I had previously enjoyed or just haven't finished yet. There wasn't too many that really caught my interest. Hades was certainly one that did, but I never was able to pick that game up, so alas, here we are. Anyway, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about Phantasy Star Online 2, New Genesis, and of course Online 2 as well. This is a game that I have been picking back up. I did a recent stream, and I might do another stream, who knows. But yeah, so basically Phantasy Star Online 2 is it's a MMO entry into the Phantasy Star franchise, which has a few other entries in it. I'm not fully sure. I know I vaguely remember playing Phantasy Star Universe, I think it's called. It's like a PS2 JRPG, and it was a lot of fun. But Phantasy Star has been a very solid title, very popular in the Japan as well, and it recently finally came over here to the West for Western audiences. And I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. You basically play as this kind of enhanced human who has capabilities that are more powerful than the usual human, and you get to go out and help defend against looming threats to humanity, essentially. You start on this kind of hub world of a ship, and while you're on that ship, you get to kind of intermingle with other members of this kind of defensive unit. The ship itself has a lot of pretty cool features on it. You get to go and there's like shops, there's various crafting things that you can go do. There's even a giant casino, which is actually quite impressive and offers a few mini games in it of itself. And the rest of it is pretty much just a hub world to meet and accept your missions. Once you accept your missions, you get to go down to various planets and locations and do the MMO style grindy thing of killing a crap ton of monsters and accepting the rewards from those requests. So it's a lot of fun. The combat is really engaging. It's an action MMO as opposed to some of the more traditional forms of combat that MMOs tend to do. And so I really like it. It's very fluid. The combat feels responsive, and there's a lot of really cool things you can do with the combat, animation canceling, all that kind of stuff. Really high skill ceiling, especially for some of the more advanced classes, but it also does have more traditional forms of classes where you can play as a mage type thing and just kind of sit back, combo your spells effectively, support your team, or you could play as like a ranger bow class where you just kind of spam out your ranged projectiles, whether it be from a gun or from a bow and arrow, and you could still kind of do those types of classes and support your team and do be very effective in that regard. But if you want to, you can go into some more advanced melee classes and find yourself really engaged in a phenomenal action combat system. So I really like that aspect of it, and I think it kind of keeps me involved and engaged in the game and makes me want to keep playing. And then there's just a plethora of classes, a plethora of fun things to go do. My favorite part is, of course, the urgent quests. These are giant, events that the whole ship gets to take part in, and they give you some kind of very powerful threat to the ship. I don't think you can fail and get the ship destroyed, at least to my knowledge. That would be kind of cool. I know some other games have had systems like that, where if you fail the urgent quest or whatever the main event quest is, if it's a threat to some kind of structure or whatever, that structure will be eventually destroyed. But Phantasy Star does not have something like that. You just fail the quest, I guess. But it's a lot of fun. You jump into a giant mission and you get to fight very JRPG-like bosses. If you've played a JRPG in the past, they have these giant towering figures that can kind of warp and bend space-time to be just incredibly powerful and just really over the top and wild fights. They come in. A lot of them are very large boss figures with crazy powers, crazy attacks that you have to dodge. It's just a ton of chaos, a lot of fun to do. The set pieces are very chaotic. It's very cinematic in ways. You feel like the badass that you really are, joining together to kind of take down a crazy powerful planetary universal being that is trying to destroy humanity. So I really like that aspect of the game. It's a lot of fun, and it seems like those types of things are returning for the New Genesis. And New Genesis is coming out later It's still 2020, so I can't say later this year. So it's coming out in 2021, and it looks like it'll be a lot of fun. The graphic engine that they seem to be going for does remind me a lot of the Xenoblade Chronicle games, and I'm really excited to pick it up and try it out. From the live stream that Japan showed of the gameplay and all of that stuff, it did seem like a very fun and cool new title to kind of pick up and play. It's one of the games that I'm going to be excited for in 2021. And it does seem that they have added some more openness to the maps. In Phantasy Star 2, some of the maps are a little more enclosed. And if you notice from the looks of the game, it does have some PlayStation 2-like aesthetics, and there are some more enclosed spaces to this title. So, of course, there are limitations to what they can accomplish. But there was some minor exploration in these maps and areas as much as they could possibly achieve given the limitations that they have. Now with new technology, it does seem that they're trying to take more advantage of the upgrades to the technology and offer us more exploration, more larger maps and zones, and I really appreciate that. The movement capabilities are also super fun and engaging. I love me some good high quality movement in games. As a speedrunner, movement is one of the quickest ways to my heart for new games and new titles. If you give me some good and fun movement, odds are I'm going to really enjoy the title. This was the case for all of the Mario games. If you're playing Mario Odyssey, for me at least, it's literally impossible to not just have fun. I could go into any of the worlds of Mario Odyssey and just not even progress towards any of the actual objectives of that particular world, gathering moons and such, and just have a blast moving Mario around, doing like quadruple jumps, jumping off walls, going crazy with the movement, and getting a real sense of exhilaration to try and get to heights that you're not supposed to, try to get past areas that seem impossible. And there's just so much excitement in that for me as a player. And in New Genesis, it does seem like there's a lot more movement capabilities. In Phantasy Star Online 2, there's good movement, but a lot of them are pretty class dependent. A lot of the classes do have animation canceling in their movement abilities, allowing you to kind of chain them together to really go through the map pretty quickly and fast. But for the most part, it's limited to those particular classes, whereas in New Genesis, it seems like a pretty universal movement system that any class can take advantage of, and I'm really excited to see what it's like to jump through these maps. A good example is maybe Warframe. If you guys have ever played that particular game, I loved playing a lot of Warframe. Even when it got kind of repetitive, I could just have a good time doing crazy ninja twirly dashes through the maps and, just doing real crazy things that aren't really that necessary to accomplish my objectives, but are just fun to do because you're having a good time being a badass space ninja. And I really hope that New Genesis itself takes some of this kind of idea and presents it in the Phantasy Star universe. And it seems, it will do something of that nature. And I'm really excited for it. The new classes look a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get my hands on the game. I'm going to try to, when they release the closed beta for the Western servers, I'm going to try and get my hands on that, maybe make a couple more videos on it. For this particular video, I just kind of wanted to have a free-form discussion on the topic and kind of put my thoughts out there for this new game. Something that I kind of want to start doing with the channel is this kind of 2 video per month schedule. I want to have at least one of my videos per month be a more elaborate essay where I construct and put together the script and go all in, and then have some more videos like this throughout the month while I'm preparing that bigger video. That allowed me to just kind of do some minor things to the editing and less scripting and all that involved. As you could probably tell, I'm just kind of free-forming, not really scripting this particular, discussion. If it's not too obvious compared to my earlier video, I'm just kind of saying things off the top of my head and giving you guys this more improv form of discussion where I just kind of, improv the dialogue. And so I wanted to have something like this as well on the channel. I'll still, throw this in the editor, try to make it look nice and throw some gameplay in the background. But I wanted to have something like this that I can every now and then post on my channel, especially when a new game like this comes out and I don't necessarily have a super good idea on maybe an interesting or engaging topic to do a full-fledged essay on, and it's just something that I have some thoughts on and want to get out there. So that's going to kind of wrap this up. I'm really looking forward to the new Genesis game. If you're a Phantasy Star player, let me know. Are you excited? I imagine you are. This looks real great if you're a fan of the series. If you haven't played Phantasy Star yourself, let me know as well. All right, does this look like an interesting game that you would potentially get invested in? Let me know what you think. But that's going to go ahead and wrap up the rest of the video. I hope you guys enjoy your holidays, and I'll see you guys in the next one.